So how do you know if your symptoms are anxiety related or if they are something more serious that need medical attention via a doctor or a test to determine if it's something more serious? And I'm going to be 100% honest with you right now. There is no clear-cut answer to this issue, to this debacle, to this internal battle that we as anxiety and health anxiety sufferers face every time we experience symptoms, especially whenever we face new symptoms. I'm going to try to give you a bunch of little things that maybe you can either adopt or use to help you make peace with it, right? But a lot of this is you coming up with your own rules, your own principles, something that can just help you cope with this and to make what peace you can out of this question, right? And what I'm going to tell you has worked really good for me. But first, I'm going to tell you this. I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to play doctor today. If you feel the need to go get some testing done or to go to the ER or whatever, just do your thing. I'm not here to tell you when or when not to go to the doctor. You have to eventually make that choice when you're ready to let go or fully accept, and to stop going to the doctor and getting your testing and all that stuff. I'm not here to tell you that. The things I am going to tell you, as far as like maybe some possible signs, it's kind of some common information that you can find online. But I'm not here to play doctor. And with that being said, if you haven't gotten checked out or tested or gotten some initial reassurance, how do you think you're going to make peace with anything or even, get the ball rolling with your anxiety recovery or anything? You're not going to feel good about anything. There's always going to be that unknown. Is there something wrong with me? Do I have cancer? Do I have heart disease? So don't be like me and wait months each time you develop new symptoms to get a test done or to make an appointment, right? It's much better to get that initial reassurance very quickly in the beginning of getting some new symptoms than to drag it out for months, showing intense fear, not really doing anything right, constantly Googling, you trying to play doctor, and then that symptom gets so bad that even after you get your reassurance from a doctor, it just hangs around. And that's what happened with me. So don't be a knucklehead like me, don't be stubborn like me, and wait months to get your chest pain checked out, right? Because then you're going to get your chest pain checked out. They're going to tell you that you're fine, but since you focused and worried about it so much and it became a habit of the subconscious to make your chest hurt, you're going to go back home, your chest's going to hurt again regardless of what the doctor said, and then you're going to question what the doctor said, and you're going to think that they're misdiagnosing you. And a lot of us have been there. So see a doctor. I'm not here to play doctor. Be safe instead of sorry, right? But eventually, if we're wanting to recover from our anxiety, if we're wanting to recover from our health anxiety, we have to come up with something that gives us some kind of peace with when to go to the doctor, when to not go to the doctor. Is this anxiety related? Is this something that's more serious? And I will say this should be motivation to get to where I'm at, because I'm so far removed from anxiety that if I were to get something significant, I'm pretty sure it's something that needs some attention at this point. So that's like somebody saying, you'll just know. Well, it's hard to just know when you get constant pain and tension symptoms, on a day-to-day basis, and then your symptoms are always changing up on you when you're in the thick of anxiety. So this should be motivation to get to where I'm at, being consistent with your routine, with your exposure, with your rewiring, with your therapy, with your awareness, positivity, your gratitude, letting go of control, right? All these things, your self-love, getting down to the root causes of your anxiety and fixing those. Because once you get to where I'm at, it's very, very easy to tell when it's time to go to the ER or when it's time to get a test or to go get some medical attention. So that's the good news. When you get to where I'm at, you probably will know, right, when something's going on. But it gets easier, I think, once you head into even the recovery process, right, when you're managing your anxiety, your symptoms are starting to go down a little bit, so it kind of gives you a little bit more of an opportunity to kind of be more rational about a new symptom. Does this feel a lot different? This is really painful, and I'm doing a lot of the right things. I'm not even really showing fear to the symptom, but it really hurts, and it's a little bit different. And I feel like the deeper you get into your anxiety journey, if you're trying to do some right things and your awareness has gotten better, what's going on, you have a history of dealing with symptoms and learning how they feel, I think you will get better as time goes on with learning if it's something serious enough for you to go get some medical attention, right? So the first thing is, let this be fuel and motivation to get to where I'm at, or to at least manage your anxiety a lot better, to where you can get out of the thick cycle of symptoms, right? Get out of that thick cycle. And if you're just trying to get to that point, guys, guys, I have a course down below in the description and in the first pinned comment, Elite Anxiety Bootcamp, that's going to provide the routine, the structure, the mindset, the perception changes that you need. So you want to get better at managing your anxiety. So stop waiting for this thing to just go away, right? Stop staying in your safe zone, in your bubble. Embrace being uncomfortable, expose, do all the things that I talk about on this channel so you can get to where I'm at, so you don't have to be in a constant loop of fear with these symptoms. So that's the first thing. Once you get to where I'm at, I do believe that you will just know if something is serious enough to go to the doctor. And I've had to go to the doctor, quite a few times for various things since I've gotten past my anxiety disorder, since I've recovered. And it's very easy. Whereas back then, whenever I was constantly dealing with anxiety symptoms, I was constantly going to the doctor, and it was just anxiety. I was getting told that I was healthy, that I was fine, getting sent home. So you just get this intense fear of like, man, I feel like I'm gonna miss that one big heart attack, So the first thing I'm gonna say is like, I had to come up with some rules. So it's like, for me, is like, if I'm bent over in pain, I'm talking about like severe pain, not some just general like achiness, some little bits of tension. If I'm bent over in pain, I need to go. This is serious. If you don't even have time to even be afraid of it, or to be scared of it, or to focus on it, you're just in agonizing pain, I think it's time to probably go to the ER. Let's be safe and say sorry. I'm not ruling out that anxiety can give you agonizing pain. I know people that deal with intense migraines and headaches. I know those chest pains can get pretty rough, but if it's some agonizing pain, it's time to go to the ER and get checked out. Okay, that's a sign right there that it could be something more serious than just anxiety related. If your symptoms are extremely progressive, no matter what you're doing, and be honest with yourself, if you're not doing the right things, yeah, anxiety symptoms can get progressive as well. But if you're doing the right things, if you're not really showing fear, if you're sticking with a routine, if you're eating healthy, if you're exercising, you're exposing, you're doing all these things, you're not showing intense focus on the symptoms so it won't magnify, but it's getting progressively worse, make that appointment, right? Make that appointment, because if it's something serious, it really doesn't matter what your anxiety is like. It's just gonna get worse. It doesn't matter if you're doing good things with your mindfulness. I mean, doing mindfulness and eating right and exercise obviously is good for your health, but if it's something really serious that you need medication or treatment for, it's still probably gonna get worse, and you're gonna need some help with that. So that's another sign. When it comes to things like blood in your stool, when it comes to coughing up blood, throwing up blood, vomiting in general, right? Those are things of concern. Now, this is where it gets tricky, right? Because if you have ever dealt with constipation, strenuous bowel movements, hemorrhoids, and I've dealt with all those things in my past, sometimes you're going to get bright red streaks in your stool, and that's just because those veins are very sensitive, but it shows that the problem is kind of right where the exit zone is, right? Darker blood is for more concern when it comes to your stool, right? Having blood in the stool. Sneezing and coughing up blood, again, if it's like some bright red blood that you get because you're having some sinus issues, and maybe it's just like a one-time thing, who knows? That's probably just a regular bodily function. But if this is happening all throughout the day and it's consistent, probably should get an appointment. Obviously, vomiting means that something serious is going on. It could be a stomach bug, but it could be something even more serious. And I'm not trying to scare you guys. I just want you guys to be safe, right? Vomiting up blood, that's not normal. Vomiting up bile, things like that. So those are some things to look for. Peeing, blood. But sometimes, guys, just something happens one time. We randomly sneeze and there's blood. Sometimes maybe we pee and there's like a very small hint of red in there. Maybe sometimes we have a bowel movement and there's a little bit of blood. Just things happen sometimes, right? But we're looking for consistency and volume, and how many days is this happening. So you'll have to come up with some type of a system for you. I know for me, when it came to going to the hospital and getting checked, and I made these rules whenever I was in the recovery process. If it was extreme pain or something like that, I'm gonna go. If it's extreme, or if it were going to be something like me throwing up blood or having some dark colored stool, coughing up blood, and it was consistent, something like that, if I'm really having trouble breathing, I'm going, right? I'm going immediately. If it's something that's less painful, it's tolerable, it's not anything, maybe it's some tension in a new area, like I'm having a new symptom, right? Then I may give it a week or two before I make an appointment. But that was what was good for me, right? I can't tell you what to do and how long to wait, and I'm not going to try to do that. So you have to come up with some type of a system. Also, another way to indicate if it's anxiety or not, and this is also tricky, right, is you're doing all the right things. You don't Google, you're not showing fear, you're almost to the point where you've recovered consciously versus subconsciously, where you've accepted that you have anxiety, the symptoms that you have dealt with in the past, and you get something new, and you're doing everything right, and the symptom just continuously magnifies regardless of what you're doing. Nothing wrong with going and getting an opinion on that. Don't count that as a failure as far as your health anxiety recovery goes, right? We don't want to be completely blindsided by something and just like put something off for a month or two, and then things get worse, and then you're dealing with more of a struggle. Other things for me, I struggle with IBS, so there were a lot of days that I would deal with either constipation, stomach pain, diarrhea and stuff like that. But if I'm gonna be having constant diarrhea and I'm struggling with dehydration because of it, I'm probably gonna go get checked out by a doctor. If I have a severe headache and that thing is lasting like a day and a half or 2 days, I'm probably gonna go get checked out by a doctor, So it was just, if I was dealing with some agonizing pain, if I was throwing up, or if I was gonna see any blood exiting my body in any type of way, I was probably gonna be a little bit concerned about that. But I understand sometimes you're gonna get some blood in your sinuses, and sometimes if you're straining or constipated or deal with hemorrhoids, you're gonna see some bright red streaks in your stool. So again, this is gray, right? Like I said, you have to try to figure out a way to make peace with this, and some of you will walk away from this video feeling a little bit better about it, and then some of you are still going to be like, well, I still feel lost in this situation. Something else, I think the further that you get into your recovery and you've got a history of dealing with symptoms and intensities of symptoms, you'll know, I think, if something's different. For instance, like if you deal with like cardiophobia and heart anxiety, and you've had like chest pain, and you've had different levels of chest pain, you can kind of gauge, whether or not something would be really, really serious if you've been dealing with that for a year and a half. And for me, like I dealt with heart anxiety, so I had the chest pain, the fast heart rate, the blood pressure, the numbness, the tingling. I had all that every day for like 2.5 years. So I figured like once I got past that and I accepted that, like if I was gonna have like a new level of chest pain, or if it was just gonna hit different, then maybe that would be indicative of something different, and I'm gonna be safe. Instead of sorry, I'm gonna go make an appointment, or I'm gonna go to the ER or something like that. I think the longer that you've had anxiety and you've gone through different symptom changes and you pick up on patterns and the way that anxiety makes you feel, I think over time you just get better at understanding like this is probably anxiety, it's probably not something serious, and you get better at noticing when something is serious. Plus, whenever something's really serious and it just kind of happens, sometimes there's just not even a lot of fear, right? It's just instinctual, like, I don't feel good, I feel sick, I'm gonna go to the hospital, right? I'm going to go make an appointment. Like, I just don't feel right, I don't feel good. This has nothing to do with me being afraid of anything. It's just like, I downright feel like crap, and I'm gonna go get this, handled. So, I hope this gave you some level of peace today. Just remember, if you're not able to breathe, if your pain's agonizing, if you notice anything, whether it be in your urine, your stool, if you're coughing up anything that you're suspicious of, if you're having like severe weight loss, you're not able to keep any food down, if you're having constant diarrhea to where you're getting dehydrated, then there's nothing wrong with making an appointment. In fact, be safe and do that, And also, I just feel like over time, you will get better at learning when something is serious and when something is caused by anxiety. And remember to use this as motivation to get to where I'm at, so you don't have to be in this constant loop of anxiety symptoms, and it makes things a lot easier to be rational about and to determine whether or not I should go or should I wait. But you have to have rules for yourself. You got to come up with how long you're going to wait for certain intensities of symptoms. You got to make sure that you're not Googling or showing fear or doing all the wrong things that can cause anxiety to get bad to make that symptom happen. Just got to have some rules, man. So hopefully this video helped you out, or at least, you know, us talking about it, navigating through it, and my thought process gives you some kind of idea on how to construct your own principles and rules for what you want to do going forward. But I will say, guys, it gets easier. It does. It gets easier. Trust me. If I was able to get out of this thing, I know you can. I had it really, really bad. Never thought I was going to get out. But if you're interested in recovery, if you want to know what I did step by step, remember to grab my course, Elite Anxiety Bootcamp. Putting that down below in the description and in the first pinned comment. It'll be there every video. It's changing people's lives. I want you to be a part of that. You deserve to recover. You deserve to be living the life that I live now. You deserve to be out of this hell, right? To be out of that constant loop of anxiety symptoms and fear and panic. So check that out. Also, guys, I have coaching services that I offer. I pretty much do coaching every single day. So if you want to reach out to me for that coaching info, I can send you that as well, and we can get started, and I can help you personally with your personalized anxiety issues. There's online therapy down below, so if you've never tried therapy, this would be a good opportunity to try that out. And there's other resources. All my socials are down there. Subscribe if you're new here. We've been getting a lot more subscribers since the turn of the year, so that's good news. I'd love to see this channel grow again. And hit the like button if you got some value, guys. But until next time, I love you and keep fighting.